Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Today we want to talk about the GPU conference that's coming up. Obviously we hear a lot of hype about the GPU. And can you tell us a bit about what exactly it is?
Well, the GPU is a so-called Islamic event. This event seeks to promote an understanding of Islam by various speakers from different backgrounds, such as an MP or the police, or even I heard the priest and a rabbi will be attending this year's event.
You mentioned so-called Islamic event. What exactly do you see wrong with it? What is un-Islamic about it?
Well, for starters, there's free mixing involved. There's also non-Muslim speakers, such as Lord Khanzir Ahmed, such as a rabbi and a priest. They'll be addressing the Muslims. You've also got pop stars, termed or classed as nasheed artists, and they'll be entertaining men and women. And also you've got a promotion of freedom and democracy, and under the pretext of Islam.
You've mentioned a few things there. Can you elaborate a bit more? Like, what do you mean there's a free mixing happening there?
Well, the free mixing I'm talking or referring to here is not the mixing of where there's going to be husband and wife with their families and they'll be shopping, things like that. No, this is not what I'm talking about. What I mean here is a nasheed artist, okay, or a pop star, as I like to call them. They'll be singing on stage, and you'll have, as the audience, men and women, especially the women with hijab on, dancing and waving their hands up, jumping up and down to this music and being entertained. And this is akin to a concert where you have pop groups such as Take That or Westlife, and the same thing here. There's no difference between the two, and this is what I mean by free mixing.
You mentioned about the nasheed artists, and you liken them to pop stars. Isn't that a bit harsh? Because if you look at the content of their songs, if you like, they're trying to advise the youth on Islam. Because many of them feel that this is the best way to give, message to the youth. They're already into music and this sort of thing. So how do you explain or elaborate on this?
Well, for starters, let's say they do give good advice. You could also argue that Tupac gave good advice in his songs, but in his environment. Advice, it doesn't matter what they're saying. If you look to the way they're dressed and you see the way they dance about on stage, you can't distinguish between a nasheed artist and a pop group today. You could see that forget what they're saying, they're exactly the same. So it doesn't justify that they can speak good advice but act and behave like the pop group and kufr. This is not what Islam is about. If you look to the Salaf, look to the companions of the Prophet, who do you think out of the companions would behave like the way they do today, and especially entertaining men and women like that? Do you think you'd see? Can you give me one Sahaba that would be like that today? I don't think you can find anyone. The problem with non-Muslim speakers coming on stage and addressing the Muslims is the fact that they will be influencing the Muslims on how they perceive Islam to be and how it is, how they see Islam should be, and they'll talk about that. And this, unfortunately, will influence a lot of Muslims who do not have any understanding of Islam and think that their standard is to please the non-Muslims, and this is an evil concept. Similar, like interfaith, this is what they try and promote, that Islam loves all other religions and respects every other religion and is tolerant to everything, but this is not the case, and that's why that is the main problem with this.
You mentioned also MPs taking part in this. Surely if they're Muslim MPs, isn't that a good thing, that they can help the Muslims?
The problem with so-called Lord Nazir Ahmed coming and speaking about Islam is the fact that he's going to be coming from the viewpoint of the government, i.e. what is acceptable to the government. And we know his background. He is part of the Labour Party, and Labour Party were the ones who instigated the war in Iraq and Afghanistan. So they have blood on their hands, and these people should be ashamed to sit and listen to this man coming and speaking about Islam. We know that democracy in Islam is something opposite to Islam. It's a contradiction. Democracy seeks to promote laws based upon man's desires, whereas Islam is law based comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And as Muslims, we should be obeying the law of Allah and not the law of man. So if Islam fits, let's say, under democracy, then that is deemed to be good Islam. But if it doesn't, then this Islam is to be rejected. So this is why we cannot accept anything from this man at all.
Okay, you've mentioned democracy that is being promoted, but is that not one of the main things that the GPU are trying to promote in the first place?
Yes, and that is a problem. Like I said, democracy is opposite to Islam. It is law based upon man's desires. And Islam Channel and the GPU, they all seek to promote this democracy. So they're going to get speakers who are pro-democratic. This is why, unfortunately, a lot of Muslims, they do not understand the issue of democracy and how evil it is. But this is a corruption. And Allah says that the biggest oppression is shirk. And this is shirk, i.e. this is man making laws where Allah is the only one who is allowed to make law.
Many people would say that, despite what you have said, many people would say that, look, if you look to the attendance, there's 60,000 people attending this conference, Muslims. Surely they can't all be wrong. At the same time, there's going to be scholars, well-known scholars, who are not only partaking, but they are going to be actually addressing the crowd. How can you say that they are all wrong in this? How would you elaborate on that?
Well, to clarify on the issue of the scholars, yes, they will be there, and they'll do their 5-minute azan or recite the Quran, and then they'll be gone. You know, this is what has been the case in the last GPU events. But about the 60,000 Muslims that are going to attend, or whatever the number may be, it doesn't matter about how many people attend a particular event. That is not the problem. The issue is what this event promotes. And even if 1 million Muslims attended it doesn't make this event right anyway. You know, one Muslim that has the understanding, the true understanding of the Quran and the Sunnah is much more powerful than if even 100 people on the falsehood. So numbers should not be the benchmark or something that we judge whether it's right or wrong.
You've mentioned about the scholars that they will leave after 5-10 minutes. Can you elaborate? What exactly do you mean?
Well, they come and they don't stay for the event, meaning you wouldn't see them listening or dancing with the men and women to the nasheed artist, probably because they think this is a bid'ah, this is not from Islam. So this is why they do their bit, and I'm sure they were brought in to make this whole event Islamic, you know, but that could be it's far from the truth. Also, the British police will be attending this conference, and the problem with that is, what exactly are they going to be talking about? Are they going to be seeking an apology for all the crimes they've committed against the Muslims, the number of raids they've made that were mistakes, the shooting of the brothers in Forest Gate? Are they going to apologize for that? What about, we know very well in Birmingham, they put cameras there and they said that it was part of, to stop crime, to minimize crime. But then they were exposed. It was found out that the anti-terror branch, they were the ones who put the cameras there to spy on the Muslims. So is that what they're going to be telling? Or are they going to be telling us how to spy on our fellow Muslims? And if we see certain qualities, we should hand them over to the police force. Is that what they're going to be talking about?
So would you say that the British police would be using this platform to promote mistrust amongst the Muslim community?
Of course, they're going to be there to say you're doing a good favor, you are commanding the good and forbidding the evil. But we all know that their angle of commanding good and forbidding evil is from the government, it's not from Islam. So yes, they are going to say to you, if you see someone praying 5 times a day and they've got a big beard, then yes, these are telltale signs of a terrorist, you know. And this is going to breed mistrust amongst the Muslim. We must live by the Sharia wherever we are. We must live by the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Also, an obligation on us is to work for the establishment of the Sharia or the Khilafah. and through the Khilafah we will attain true global peace and unity. Assalamu alaikum.